Okay, hi everyone, my name is John Beebe. I run a company called BuyJack here in St. Louis. The base premise of our whole company was to kind of shake up the t-shirt industry originally. We've all kind of been there, we've all kind of been in starting mode and starting companies and got really excited about the logo and wanting to put it on a t-shirt, only to find that you've got to spend, way more money than you thought on a t-shirt, with more t-shirts than you needed to buy. The usual minimum order quantities are 24, and the lead times are longer than you would expect. When we came to the market, when we first kind of started and building up the company, the idea was that we didn't want to be held down by having to print stuff for ourselves. So we didn't want to hold, when we got into it, we were in screen printing, and so we're like, wait a minute, we have to abide by those rules as well. So when we looked at different brands and things like that, we wanted to try and create something where our minimum order quantity was one. Like a ridiculous thing that if you ask any other screen printing company, like how do you create one of something? And this was in about 2015 when we first started this. We really went after high schools and things like that, and we started our internal mantra of no straggler taxes. And what we mean by that is you order 20 t-shirts for your high school event, and then 3 weeks later, Aunt Sally wants one extra t-shirt. Well, all of a sudden you go back to a screen printing shop, it's now $70 for a single t-shirt. We wanted to mitigate all of that and create a user experience that was sided on the side of the client rather than the side of the producer. So, when we came up with that mantra, we then started to build a mission and a business plan and how we were going to do stuff. We moved to St. Louis in 2017. We'd started in Southern Illinois, and there was a very solid concrete ceiling of how far we could take any form of company. So we packed up, brought it to St. Louis, put it into my front living room, and had 0 connections, 0 sales, nothing. And my business partner at the time was like, let's just go out and get one sale. Doesn't matter what it is, let's just get the ball rolling. And I refused to do that. I basically said, our mission is to help you. Be in a situation where somebody needs us and we can be a bolt-on to their company. It wasn't about us making money. It wasn't about just getting sales for whatever reason. I said, if we want to do that, then let's not build what we want to build. Let's just go and sell t-shirts. So we started to focus on really when I say the needy, the people that don't have money but really need merchandise. And our hyper focus became local bands in St. Louis. And through that, we found bands that didn't have any money, that were needed, where their making money was merchandise. And the whole music scene is completely upside down at the moment. So they really started to make money through t-shirts. So rather than trying to sell them 50 t-shirts for a good price, we were giving them 10 t-shirts for a good price. And then they would go away, they'd sell them, they'd come back, they'd buy more. And we start to educate people on how merchandise can be a revenue stream for you rather than buying 200 t-shirts, figuring out that you either spelled something wrong, you designed it wrong, the t-shirt color was wrong, or whatever else, and then you end up sitting on boxes and boxes of merch, no liquid assets, and then just giving them away for free and claiming that it's a marketing spend. So, again, going back to what our mission is to basically help you. No matter the size or scale of the company, we're here to bolt into whatever you're doing and then create something that allows you to not spend money on overage that you really don't need. So, like I said, the humble beginnings, we started in my living room, and we haven't really changed that mentality. I am a very hands-on owner of the company. There are 3 of us that work at the company. So there's me, there's Logan, who's my production manager. He produces absolutely everything we do. And then Rob is my designer. And I can go to him with an insane concept like I did yesterday for, I don't know if you guys know the Funky Butt Brass Band. They're a client of ours, and they came to us with, all we're doing is taking our logo and we're just rubber stamping it on everything we do, just our logo, our logo, our logo. So we went away, and Rob, I kind of said this to Rob, and Rob came back with a plethora of designs, all mimicking other bigger brands. So we had like the St. Louis Blues, City, the Cardinals, and my favorite one is Funky Budweiser, and it's Budweiser, exactly the Budweiser brand. And our aim is to rip these like bigger brands off intentionally so that it's recognizable, and also if we genuinely believe if someone ever came to us with a cease and desist, we knew we're doing the right thing. Because at that point we can partner with them. At that point we've got their ear. And so we're very disruptive in that sense. And in that same breath, we are very much, like I said, we're still a very small company, and we want to like help other companies. So we don't go after, tiny companies that come up with a good idea and say, oh, we'll take that as well. It's very much about respect in a city like this. We're too small of a city to try and like rip each other off and go around and do that sort of stuff. But it's all tongue in cheek, it's all very fun. And like last year, we actually got a cease and desist from the Battlehawks because we were flying a little bit too close to the wind, and we ended up like doing some partnership work with them because of it. Sorry, I just jumped ahead right down there. So, a new dorm. So, when we moved out of my living room, we moved into a small corner office in Midtown in the Arts District, kind of a quarter of the size of this room, massively bursting out the seams. We're part of a bigger media company, and everyone else in the media company is like, we have to go and get a bigger building because you guys are just taking up too much space. There's boxes everywhere, etc., etc. We moved into a 2,500 square foot space 3 years ago, and now we're once again bursting at the seams. So we're now, like with our brand and how we're developing it, we're now moving into a 5,000 square foot space next to City Park. And so we're looking at that property and developing all of that around. The brand, I will just go through very quickly here. So as you can see from the top right, this is our logo. Originally, it's a merge of two names, it's a portmanteau. Bi is the last two letters of my last name, Beeby, B-E-B-Y, and Jack was the first four of my mum's maiden name, which is Jackson, and we merged it together. But there was a moment where we were going to call the company Jappy. These are the original art sketches, which I can now only think of as being the most disastrous name. It doesn't fit anything that we do. It felt very kind of Jacobean and very old English, which obviously fits with me, but probably wouldn't fit very well in St. Louis. These were some of our original concept designs that we sent around to people to try and the whole kind of fabric thing, and the artist stuff and things like that. And the thing we actually ended up doing was building out just our kind of original was the by Jack logo with the .com, and then we moved on about 3 years ago into this brand circle. The purveyors of quality merchandise. It is all about quality for us. We don't produce on anything on low quality materials. We genuinely feel that tactile materials are the best things to do when people are grabbing a bag of things. We've all done that thing when you grab a free t-shirt and you just think, God, I can't wait to never wear this again. The city skyline at the bottom, and then our brand colours being black, white and blue. It's just things that we think are quite powerful colours. And just black and white, it's just to kind of signify the transparency of our company. There are no hidden costs or anything like that. If we say something's a $12 t-shirt, it's a $12 t-shirt. There's no setup fees, there's no art fees or anything like that. I'm building that up. So going on, our relationships was a big part of this. So we started with bands. We now have companies like SLSO, we manage all of their merchandising. The reason we got into partnerships with them was because of they didn't want to really run their boutique anymore. They found it was a massive hindrance buying stuff and things not selling, so we took on their e-commerce platform and developed it and worked with them on art stuff. Charities that we've worked with, Pujols Family Foundation. So Albert Pujols, obviously everybody knows. He has a foundation that works with Down syndrome kids and people in the Dominican Republic and raising funds for that. We took over their online stuff because he has a nationwide fan base and they didn't want to be trying to run everything out of their office out in Creve Court. And our biggest one and the most fun one that I find is the Great Forest Park Balloon Race. Second biggest public event in St. Louis, and it's really our kind of playground. We go there and we actually like beta test and kind of sandbox a lot of ideas. We have a 70-foot tent that we put up there. We have our old UPS truck that shows up and we pop open the window and we're printing on demand. We have an old Land Rover Defender that has an ice cream machine in the back of it that we're doing. Don't worry, it's all right, it's just soft serve.
Hey, no, we're rinsing it.
Yeah, and we give free soft serve out when people buy something. The whole idea of this is that we could just be a t-shirt company. Our whole thing is to develop a brand, and a brand that people can rely on, that when they go to the St. Louis Symphony, there is a equal measure of, it's the St. Louis Symphony, but it's also a safe handle by Jack. And that's kind of our whole move forward. So this pitch has really been, like what we've been practicing, is going into new businesses, explaining that we're like absolutely dedicated and committed to St. Louis, like from our logo to like how we've kind of really developed our relationships here. We have no major desire to get outside of the St. Louis area and go like franchise into different cities. But our aim is to pitch this to new, bigger organizations that use us for their e-commerce platform and their live events. So.
Thank you.